the biggest industry on this planet is the ammunition industry, the defense industry. There will never be, ever be a point of time in the human history when there will not be war at one part of the planet. Can you recall, since you were born, any year when there was no war going on? Now coming to another bomb also called as vacuum bomb. The true name is thermobaric bombs or thermobaric weapon system. I have taken this slide from the BBC, which is a very simple representation of how the thermobaric bombs work. How many of you have seen the pictures of the Ukrainian city which was bombed by vacuum bomb, which literally had melted human bodies? The buildings, the concrete buildings were all, in the rubbles, etc. You've seen that. This is the kind of damage the thermobaric weapons have. The problem of usage of this weapon is that there is still no proper rules and regulation of the controlled use and where these weapons can be used or cannot be used. So let us first understand what is happening here. Here there is a precision guided bomb. Precision guided bomb. We understand what are guided bombs. There are two types of missiles, guided and unguided. Alright, guided missiles is where you lock the target, where you are very precise about where the bombshell falls. Now this is where your GPS system is extremely important. What are unguided missiles? Unguided missiles is when you go Sunny Deol in the entire warfare area, you simply start firing missiles left, right and center. All you have to do is one, create chaos and do maximum damage. Alright, so this is the guided system. This is the guided system. So a precision guided bomb strikes the target. Small explosion. It has two-stage explosion. It has two-stage explosion. The first stage explosion releases the cloud of explosive material. We know very well, do you need oxygen for vaporization or do you need oxygen for basically burning? What does this bomb do is, when this first explosion takes place, it creates this cloud of the fuel. Alright, and then what does this fuel do? It starts sucking all the air. It starts sucking all the air and then creates a explosion. Why is it sucking all the air? It is basically sucking that entire place of oxygen. It uses oxygen for the explosion, and this sucking of the air actually leads to a lot of damage, and it is capable of vaporizing human body, and a massive blast takes place by the second explosion. Why it is called vacuum? What is the property of vacuum? What is the property of vacuum? Vacuum does not have any air or gases. है ना? Very simple. Pressure हमको नहीं समझ में आता. We don't know that much physics. But do we know that vacuum is a hollow space which does not have any air or oxygen? Isn't it doing the same thing? Isn't it creating the vacuum around the area? Now do we understand why it's called vacuum? What is vacuum? Vacuum is when you do not have air or any kind of gas in a chamber. You basically create vacuum-like conditions, right? You create vacuum-like conditions for, let's say, maximum transmission of waves, maximum transmission of signal, etc., so that the friction is minimum. Here, the explosion, in order to for this explosive material or fuel to use oxygen and then explode further, it basically sucks in all the air and make the surrounding area devoid of oxygen or air, creating vacuum-like situation. Creating vacuum-like situation, hence it is called vacuum bomb. and it creates a lot of heat. A massive blast can melt down buildings. Very nice, Yashwardhan. That is if the world was a nice place and everyone was very good. The biggest industry on this planet is the ammunition industry, the defense industry. There will never be, ever be a point of time in the human history when there will not be war at one part of the planet. Can you recall, since you were born, any year when there was no war going on? You basically, can you recall? I'm just simply asking you. किसी को भी याद है any period of time when there was no war going on in any part of the world? It's not just Russia, Israel, Russia, China, USA. USA has such a strong defense lobby. It wanted to topple the Sri Lankan government to create, a space for US. And Rajiv Gandhi, though his calculations are considered to be dicey, but knew exactly what USA is trying to do. It was the USA's defense lobby which wanted to throw away the Indian government. Why? Because Indian government had sent the soldiers to Sri Lanka. That is the power of the lobby, the Jaffna region. Right? So, Yashwardhan, answering your question, bomb to bomb hota hai, why do we need convention on certain types of bomb, is weapons of mass destruction. Have you heard of this term? Weapons of mass destruction. So when any weapon is categorized as a weapon of mass destruction, then there are certain regulations. All of this happened after the Hiroshima-Nagasaki incident. And then these conventions took place. For example, chemical weapons, for example, your clustered weapons or cluster bombs, nuclear bombs, etc. But then you have to understand, either in the name of having sovereignty, security, yes, CTBT is there, you will always have new variety of, for example, this particular bomb has no convention and has actually killed the entire city. And why it is thermobaric? Because it creates a lot of thermal explosion. Okay? Please keep on writing how thermobaric weapons work. Very, very slowly, let us understand. Thermobaric weapons can be fired from a rocket launcher. बस यही तो. 100 feet above the ground, a first charge creates cloud of highly flammable aerosol fuel. We have understood this. Highly flammable aerosol fuel. A second charge ignites the aerosol cloud and creates huge shock wave. Air rushes towards the explosion, creating a vacuum. And this explosion creates a blast wave of significantly longer duration than conventional explosives.